It looks like we're on.
You can't.
Yes,
there
you're up.
we go.
It's on.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to March 11th to our monthly meeting of the Seminole Democratic Party. I'm Tracy Kagan, the Vice Chair of the Seminole Democratic Party, and Lynn Moira Dichter is the Chair. And we've decided every other month we're going to grace you with one of us to host and lead the meeting tonight. I'm so excited that you're all here. We have a great lineup for you. It's very exciting. Spring forward. Don't forget to change the clocks on Saturday night. We have a wonderful agenda. And let's start off now by saying the pledge. If we can all stand up, please. And I will lead the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now let's have a moment of silence if we can. Okay, that was our moment of silence. I think everyone's very surprised that I can actually be silent for that moment, but I can, and I have. I'm so excited to see you all, and I think very soon we're going to be seeing you in the flesh. We're all going to get that shot in the arm soon, and I hopefully come May, June, definitely July, we'll be sitting in a room and getting to see everyone again. So right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Sue if we have a quorum. Sue, do we have a quorum present?
Yes, Tracy, we do. Thank you.
Excellent. So we're ready to roll. And on that note, before we go any further, I would like you, Sue, to announce the new people, the new members, precinct captains to the Seminole Democratic Party, if you could. Are you with me?
She's muted.
Sorry.
Oh,
No, you're fine.
That's
You're
not-
fine.
That's absolutely fine. If you, yeah, that would be terrific. If you can list and tell us about the newly elected members and we can vote them in.
Yep, that'd be perfect. So tonight we have members joining us in two categories. We have 3 regular members joining and then 1 precinct captain joining us at large. The regular status voting member precinct captain, we have Brant Gaddis in precinct 13. We have Emily Ori of precinct 40 in Castleberry, and we have Jay Jury of precinct 50 in Sanford, all joining us tonight as regular members. And then joining us at large, who has graciously agreed to take on the responsibility of our communications committee, is Lisa Carroll, who lives in precinct 72 in Chiliota. So if I may make a motion to vote these members in under the statuses that I said.
Can someone make a motion? Motion from Brittany. And can someone second that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Oh, Howard Moss seconded. I got that in under the wire. Fabulous. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Wait. We have to vote now. Now that we have
now we vote. I can welcome them and then we'll vote.
All right,
Okay.
Here we go. It should be on everyone's screen. If you give it just a minute so everyone can vote. Tracy, you can't vote.
I'll give you another 10 seconds to everybody.
Okay, thank you, Larry. I appreciate Larry. First of all, I do want to thank Larry for setting up the entire meeting and for walking me through it as a technically challenged woman. He has really helped me out this evening. So thank you, Larry. And now if everybody could submit their vote and then Sue can read us the result. 100% said yes and approved. Fabulous. I love to see that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all that have done this. Welcome, welcome to the SemDems. We are very energized by your presence. This is the month of March. We're going to march forward and we're going to be successful with all of your help. So thank you so much. First things first, let's do the minutes from the last meeting. Nadia, I would ask Everyone have received the minutes. If somebody can make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting conducted on February 11th. Who would like to make that motion to approve the minutes? I need someone in the
Make
chat.
sure
I
there are
make a
no,
motion
make sure there are no
with
amendments or
changes.
addendum, corrections or amendments or anything.
Wait, there are amendments with changes. What changes did you want to make, Kat? Oh, the updated, the corrections. Excellent. Okay, great. Then let's have a second motion to second it and pass it through. May I see that? I did see someone
Looks
seconded
like Ben
before.
seconded it.
There we go. Ben, thank you very much for seconding that. Okay, wonderful. All right, now we're going to move on. And the reason why we're moving a little bit swiftly this evening, we have to vote on approving the minutes. So everyone vote on approving the minutes.
Another 5 seconds, I'll stop pulling.
Wonderful, thank you. 100%. I love that. You can't get better than that. Thank you, everybody, for approving those minutes. And thank you, Nadia, for keeping those minutes. I really mean it. Thank you for keeping us on our toes and accountable. All right, the next thing, and the reason why we're moving a little bit swiftly is we have a host of great people speaking tonight. We have the League of Women Voters, the president, Sharon Lynn, speaking, and we have our featured guest also, Nikki Fried, speaking. We have so many good topics to hit. So we're excited that each and every one of you are here tonight for this meeting. So with that in mind, let's go and get our treasurer's report. Jorge, are you with us? Are you there?
I'm bringing them
Yep.
on.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I hope you had a good month, Jorge. Let's hear what you have to tell us when it comes to money.
All righty, I can speak.
All right,
I'll just share my screen real quick.
wonderful. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys as well. So I
There we
will keep it quick. So at the beginning of the month, we had $8,414 carried over from January. Our total contributions came out to $10,679. This was mainly due to recurring donations increasing slightly, but we also had an increase in non-recurring donations, mostly due to Tracy Kagan. She kindly donated a portion of her leftover funds from her campaign, so shout out to Tracy. And there we go. And then for our expenditures, we cut some of our recurring payments down to almost half. That's for things like our website services, for sending out emails, a lot of our recurring payments, a lot of legacy services we kind of got rid of, so that helped cut the bill there. Our usual credit card fees associated with using ActBlue for our contributions, our utility bill, which consists of our energy bill and cable or internet, $131. This had to do basically the $4,000 expenditure, Tracy's donation of $4,000. The bank rejected the mobile deposit and I had to turn it in person. So I have to keep record of all the expenses. So the bank taking back the money, that's what cost that as well. So, and then our usual rent payment. So total of $5,516 for expenses. And that brings us to $13,577 in our bank. So moving on up.
Wonderful, Jorge. Thank you so much. And thank you to the recurring donors, our GEMS, Give Every Month donors. And we encourage everyone, if they can give 5, 10, 15, whatever, every month, to do it, to fill the pot, to build the bank account, to help the candidates to turn it blue. So now let's make a motion to approve the budget. Does someone have a motion to approve it?
The treasurer's report, yeah.
Yes, the treasurer's report.
Howard made the motion I see in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Howard. And who wants to second it, please? Seconded from Steve and Vicky. So motion is approved. The budget is approved. The treasurer's report is approved.
We have
The
to vote on
treasurer's
it.
report is approved, and now we'll vote on whether we accept it.
Okay.
And we also had a request to make it larger, so I'll just bring it up again real quick and zoom in if I can.
Yes, for those of us that are over the age of 50, but not old enough to get the shot, we needed a little larger.
Yep. No
Thank
worries.
you.
Yeah, it's hard
I
to see the
appreciate
perspective.
it.
So,
I
yep,
appreciate
just for a
so
final
much.
review for everyone, if they want to take a look at the numbers, if you have any questions, feel free to message the chat.
Wonderful.
Tracy,
And
Kathy
again,
Wa-
100% have approved it. And
Kathy
now
Wallace has a
I want to
question.
thank you. Kathy, what is your question?
Well, you want to type it in the chat? She raised her hand. I don't know if that was a holdover from something else or if that was
Yes,
this.
well, Kathy,
Oh.
did you have a question? Okay, if you do have a question, write it in the chat and I'll follow up with you, but I'd like to move on if I can. And I'd like to go now to Rob Bial and have him present the budget if he can. Rob, are you with us? Are you, as they say in Hamilton, in the room?
He's coming.
Were you in the room when it happened? Okay. Robert,
I'm here now.
are you there?
They were just.
There you are. Better late than never. I love you.
I was
All right, my friends,
here.
lay it out
I was
for
just
me. Give
waiting.
us,
I was being channeled into the space here. So.
all right, be channeled. Channel with me and tell me what our budget looks
Okay.
like. Are we lean and mean?
Here we go. Can you see my screen, and is it large enough?
I can see it because I made it larger.
Okay.
So, but I think it's pretty large. People can pinch out and make it larger for themselves. It's perfect. Thank
Okay.
you.
So this is our budget. So actually, we had budgeted only $1,650 for recurring donations. So $1,885 came in. So thank you to everybody for increasing donations, including myself. Even if it's as little as $5 a month, it makes a huge difference. So if you haven't already done so, please consider making a monthly contribution.
And Rob, you are a gem. You're a gem now.
I'm a gem.
You're shine bright like a diamond. Yes.
So as Jorge already said, our expenses, contributions were higher. Thank you, Tracy, along with the gems, and expenses were lower. So down here you have our budget variance from our first month was flat, obviously, because we just approved the budget. So we budgeted on contributions $2,150. We got $6,679. So we had an increase of $4,529. Expenses were down by $185 over projection for a total variance of an increase of $4,714. So we're ahead of the curve. So we got to keep it up, though.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I thank you for that. Thank you for your monthly report. Ahead of the girth is the way we want to be. We don't want girth, right?
Yep.
Anyway, thank you so much, Lean and Mean. And thanks for sharing that. Good to see you. And stay safe, my friends.
You too.
Okay. I'd like to move on. And if anybody has any questions regarding the budget or the treasurer's report, feel free to put them in the chat. Feel free to email me at vicechair@SemDems or chair@SemDems if you have any questions. But if not, I'd like to move forward and move on because I'm excited to talk about our next guest. Our next guest is Connie Coran. She is the president of the Disability Democratic Caucus. She is our featured guest. Now, what we're going to do every month is feature a different caucus or club from the SemDems because we want you to know what's available within our hood with our inclusiveness. We want to know that there's something for everyone to channel into, whether they want to volunteer in it, be a part of it, be a member of it. We want you to know that it's there and accessible for you. So I would like to introduce Connie Coran, and I would like her to speak to us for a moment. Connie, are you with us? Are you in the room?
You're muted, Connie.
Oh,
We will let her speak.
Okay.
there she goes. There she is.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And I think it's great that hopefully all the caucuses, committees, clubs, everything can have a chance to introduce themselves one by one. And then, hopefully more people get involved, which would be great. So I am president now of the Seminole County Democrats with Disabilities Caucus. That's the official name. It's quite long. And I'm going to open and close with the same thing. I'm opening by telling you that our next meeting, I will close with this too, is on Monday, March 29th. Of course, it's a Zoom meeting. Hopefully we can abandon that soon like we all hope. But anyway, at this point, it's Monday, March 29th at 6 p.m. So, if this sounds like it could be something interesting, or if you just want to pop by and hear what's going on with our caucus, then that would be a great time to do it. The Disability Caucus is open to everyone, and you don't have to have a disability to be a part of the caucus. Some of us do, some of us don't. Some of us have. It's unlikely that you would not have someone either in your friends, family, or whatever that does not have a disability. I mean, disabilities are not just mobility disabilities. They are all sorts of things. They can be hearing, speech, vision, developmental disabilities, mental health disabilities, chronic illnesses. There are hidden disabilities. Disabilities are not always visible. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So we welcome everyone, disability or not, but a lot of us do. A lot of us have people either ourselves or in our family. And so, something that of course we're passionate about. Also, some of the data, I won't go into it a lot, but people with disabilities, it's the largest minority voting group in Florida. It's actually between 25 and 28% of people self-identify as having a disability in Florida. So this is a huge block that I think is often overlooked. And then if you include that to their friends and family, this is quite a lot of people who are involved in the disability community. One thing we always want to do is create an awareness about this, and that works both ways. We'd like to have an awareness of our SemDems, our Democrats, our group about people with disabilities. We also like to have the disability community be more aware of SemDems and the Democratic Party. There are obviously a lot of legislative issues that are important to us, just like anyone else. I'm just going to give you a few highlights. I know we're pressed for time, so I don't want to do too many things, but just some things that obviously there's just no end to things, but I'm just going to hit a few of them. And one would be obviously in Florida, the expansion of Medicaid, which is really important and is vital to getting medical services. Obviously, is a big thing. In general for disability funding, Florida should be very proud to know that they normally rank about 50th out of 50. Once in a while, we'll get up to 49th, but we fight it out with states like Mississippi and Arkansas to race to the bottom. So that's never a good thing. Funding, when they're trying to cut things, often I think it just is an easy place for them to go in the budget, is to try to get, cut the funding for disability programs. And so there are many people on different waiting lists, waiting for services and so forth. So this is something we always want to advocate to. Education obviously is a big thing. A lot of times when you see these resource officers and so forth in schools, these are students with disabilities who are often treated terribly in schools with improper restraints, and people who often have more medical conditions and put in seclusion and that sort of thing. So that's something that we constantly following.
Wow.
Also the discrimination in the voucher programs that are here now. I mean, they do not normally, a lot of these just do not include services at all for people with disabilities.
Connie,
Yes.
Just a quick question. I just wanted to ask you, if people need to contact you, can you just put out your email address for them so that people can have access if they have more questions for you or want more comments to learn more about the caucus?
Right. I guess I should have had I know that I have a disability.
That's okay.
Email.
Maybe you can just throw it in the chat room for us.
Okay, I will do that.
And yeah, I would love to have you back. You have so much to share with us.
Right.
But due to pressure and time
Right.
constraints, I just want everyone to know that you are there, you're accessible. and
Right.
people can reach you should
Right.
they want to do it. So thank you so very
And our
much.
meeting is March 29th, 6 p.m. It's on.
March 29th, everybody jot that down.
Right.
I'm going to go over
And
the
we have
events
so much
calendar
we'd
at the
like
end.
to accomplish. So please, try to zoom in with us. Thank you.
No, absolutely. I will talk about it later. I certainly will. Thank you so much, Connie.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you.
Okay, so now what I'd like to do is I'm a little upset in the schedule, and I'm very excited to introduce the Commissioner of Agriculture, Nikki Fried. She has made herself available to speak to us, and I feel so honored and so privileged to know her and to have her on our show. It is Women's History Month. She is a woman who's moving us forward. She is the first woman elected to this position, and she's the first Democrat since 2001 to hold this position. So this is a very coveted position. She's a very sharp woman, engaging. I love her, and I'm so pleased to have her join us. So we're going to take you out of sequence, Nikki, and we're going to ask you to take it away and share us your pearls of wisdom. How are you?
I am great, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me come on and say hello to Seminole County Democrats.
Hello back.
It is so great I wish we were all in person. Hopefully that will come sometime soon, but it is so great to be back. I've spent a lot of time in Seminole County. You brought home my victory in 2018 and turned your county blue. So thank you for all that you did and continue to do locally. I've been on so many calls, trying to talk about 2020 and then 2022 and moving forward. And, everybody always talks about Seminole County and how we rely so heavily on you all turning blue and really transforming our state. And it really is such a sentiment to what you all have been doing in the ground for decades at this point to really make such an impact in our state. And so I want to say just thank you. Thank you for all that you do. I also want to just take a little bit of personal privilege to kind of tell you a little bit more about me, and
That's what we want to know. We're waiting, Nikki.
Yeah, because a lot of times during campaigns, you get the candidate, you get the person who's coming and doing just like a stump speech, and you really don't get to learn, what makes a person tick. Why are they doing what they're doing? Why are we fighting like we fight? And so I just kind of want to go back and tell you a little bit of story about me, and then I'm going to open up at the end for some questions. But who I am is, I started off in third or fourth grade. And I had issues in school, was falling behind and with my peers. And, I had a fantastic teacher. I'll never forget her, Judy Patel, who took me aside and spent some time with me and my parents, and, just basically wanted to give me all of the tools to succeed. And so she came in and helped me every step along the way. And, people were underestimating me, that I was going to be able to rise to the occasion and be able to succeed in life. And she taught me to fight harder and to know that sometimes I'm going to have to work a little bit harder than everybody else, but I've got internal strength and the passion to do so. So I succeeded. I went off and got my, graduated top of my class in high school, and then went off to University of Florida, where I got my undergrad, my master's, my law degree, passed the bar, practiced law for 15 years. But I still had the same kind of experience when I went to the University of Florida. I wanted to get involved in student government, and I walked into my first student senate meeting, and here I was in tie-dye t-shirt and Birkenstocks, and everybody else around me were wearing, khaki pants and blue blazers and white buttoned-up shirts and bow ties. And they didn't expect that this Jewish girl from Miami to be able to make waves and to really succeed. And I was underestimated, but boy, did I prove them wrong. Not only was I end up being Senate president, but also Supreme Court chair of the Supreme Court, and then the illustrious student body president my last year while I was in law school, the first female to have been student body president in 18 years. And was only the third ever elected. So broke a lot of glass ceilings, first person actually in UF history to ever hold the helm of all three branches. And again, I proved everybody wrong by just my tenacity and hard work. Then I went off and practiced law in Jacksonville for a year in a big corporation, a big law firm representing corporations. And a year into it, I said to myself, this is not why I went to law school. I went to law school to serve and to do good with my law degree, not to continue fighting for corporations in that wheelhouse. So I left and went back to University of Florida, Alachua County, where I was a public defender for 3.5 years and fighting for my clients, and saw up close and personal the injustice of the criminal justice system. Yes, go Gators. And saw go Gators come up. And I really kind of started understanding where my path in life was, and that was standing up for injustice and seeing the disparagement between my clients and others. And then eventually made my way back to South Florida, where I'm originally from, and started doing government consulting, representing children in the foster care system, representing Broward School Board for fighting for public education, and then working with activists and clients to expand access to medical marijuana. And again, here I came, this junior lobbyist from Miami, South Florida, and had all these, alpha men in this old boy network up in Tallahassee, and they didn't think anything that I was going to make waves or do anything. But I got frustrated. I got frustrated with the system up here in Tallahassee. Doors were closed. Good legislation failed because I was not representing big corporations, and I got pissed. And I said, you know what? It's not enough for me just to be walking the halls of Tallahassee talking about these issues. I have more to give. And that's when I decided to run in 2018. And I decided that I wanted to go big or go home and to make an impact here in the state of Florida. And that's what I did. And with your help, I was able to become the 12th commissioner and been able to really fulfill so many of my campaign promises. For those who followed my campaign, I was very message driven with my 3 W's, weed, weapons, and water. And came in and was able to accomplish all of those issues. First and foremost was weed. I have not only created a first ever cannabis director, we got hemp passed in our first legislative session, which is an alternative crop for our farmers. It's going to be an alternative crop in replacements of our plastics and styrofoams. Hemp instead of concrete, all better for the environment. Going to be a $20 to $30 billion industry here in our state. And then also was weapons. And for 13 months prior to me coming into office, my predecessor allowed background checks to not happen. And about 300 people fell through the cracks. And on top of that, we knew the extent of the influence from the NRA. The NRA was directly involved in everything that was happening inside of the department, influencing who got permits, who didn't, making sure the process was expedited for certain people. And I made a promise to the citizens of our state that if elected, not only would we make sure that everybody receives an accurate and complete background check, but the NRA was going to be seen being kicked out of our front door. No more welcome mats inside the Department of Agriculture. And that's exactly what we have done. The NRA has no influence, impact, or ability to even access my office at this point. And and the last issue was water. And we came in and cleaned house in my ag water policy director, making significant changes that were really going to improve the water quality coming off of our ag lands. New director, new best management program manuals that haven't been updated for 20 to 30 years. And we're making huge strides. The other thing you did when you elected me as your commissioner, you made me part of the cabinet and the clemency board. And that way I have an opportunity every single day to hold the governor accountable, make sure he's doing things right for the state of Florida, that there's transparency, that he isn't violating laws, and making sure that the issues that we want in front of the state get seen. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened. The governor has let us down in so many ways. Not only dealing with, obviously the last of the, COVID and the vaccine rollout and taking care of only versus his donors and refusing the mask ordinances. And now yesterday waived all the fines that a local government was putting out there to protect its citizens. And so every day I get to stand up to him and really give the voices of the people their due course. And I wish that we could do more, but that's what you're here for, is to really make these changes on a state level and bring some more friends up to Tallahassee with me. But I'm
Nikki,
yeah.
I just want to say we need to clone you because we need to keep you in that job. But I like your next jump And I'm so excited for you. I'm a big Nikki Fried fan, and you're just so accomplished. So maybe you want to speak a little bit towards that if you're ready to.
Yeah, I just wanted to also just, talk about a little bit just before, and then I'll address that, Tracy.
Yeah.
Just want to also close, just a general story that, the story starts off with 4 numbers, 6753. That is the amount of numbers, the amount of votes that I was elected in 2018 out of 8.2 million, 6,753. So I'm going to take you back to November 18th on election night, where I was watching all the ballots come in, and over the course of the night, around 9:30, we were seeing that I was down, and all of the TV and radio and everybody was declaring that I had lost. My opponent went on to TV and declared victory. And I saw that we weren't done. I went downstairs to my watch party, and I had a speech to my supporters and said, guys, it's gonna be a long night, go home, but we're not done fighting. And I kind of went back to, my 3rd and 4th grade years of, hearing my teacher on my shoulder saying, you've got the strength, just keep going. And that's what we did. It wasn't about me, it was about you all. We had a long night. We lost Andrew Gillum. We lost Senator Nelson. And I was our last opportunity to really make sure that all the things that we were fighting for were going to stay alive, and that we were going to keep fighting. And that's exactly what we did. And with your help and your support, we became victorious. All the things that we were able to get accomplished in the last couple of years, if you stick with me, I promise you the next 2 are going to be just as impactful and just as meaningful. And we're going to continue fighting for the things that we as Democrats hold true. And to go on to Tracy's points, I'm the question that I get asked on a pretty normal basis is, are you running in 2022 for governor? And what I have said is, first and foremost, it is becoming clearer and clearer every single day that this governor needs to be a one-term governor. What he has done to our state and prioritized his wealthy donors, has prioritized the corporations, the 1%ers, and the 1%er of the 1%ers, and has really, really done a disservice to the people of our state. And it's not just Ron, it is the entire Republican Party. For 25 years that they have controlled our state, it is more and more clear that they are only trying to protect their power by, look at the bills that they're prioritizing this year. Protest bill. That protest bill is nonsense. All the things that they talk about are already criminal activities. All they're trying to do is put more Black and brown people into jail. That is the point of the protest bill. Now that they're working on, Governor DeSantis says, my number 1 priority is taking down the big tech companies. Well, tell me one Floridian, well, I know one Floridian who cares about it, but outside of that one Floridian who lives at Mar-a-Lago, name one other person that lives in our state that gives a flying crap about breaking down the big tech companies. And that's not what's on their priorities list. Unemployment, making sure that they've got a roof over their heads, making sure they have access to food, making sure they have access to education and broadband for our rural communities. There's so many other things that should be priorities, but the Republican Party has made their priority is keeping their power. Voter suppression bills, taking apart our vote by mail system. And so as I continue to go through all of this, it is becoming clearer that it's not just about Ron, it is about the entire Republican Party who's built a system that is failing the people of our state. The system isn't broken. The system is working exactly how they have intended it to be. The system needs to be broken. And that is going to take all of us. So I am certainly every day getting closer to making a decision because I know the people of our state deserve better. But I've got 3 boys, 3 young stepsons. We can see their artwork back there, and that is a gator. This is all hands on deck. And I would expect the people to know that I'm taking this very seriously in this decision-making process because it is going to be something that we all have to do together. And that means going into our communities, talking to our, vulnerable populations, to those who have been disenfranchised. This means that all my family, my mother, my sister, my grandmother, my niece, my nephew, my fiance, our 3 boys it's all hands on deck. And so we're spending some time having these tough conversations. And I know that people are coming to me as our only statewide elected Democrat, believing that I'm our best chance to do so. So I take that very seriously, and we'll be making some decisions soon.
Yeah, well, you are fabulous, and I thank you so much for sharing all of that. And you really are a beacon of light for a lot of us, and for most of us. And for me, I look forward. I go to Facebook, and I see you all the time holding him accountable. He needs to be held accountable and then voted out. Let's see if we have any questions. Are you open for a few questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see what we have here in the chat. Who would like to ask a question? All right, let's see. I hear a question here from Emily Oray, is it? Should we be concerned about our aquifer? What is the plan to make sure Nestle and other big corporations aren't taking all of our usable water?
Yeah, this is a big problem. Nestle has pushed their way into an additional contract with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection inside of the governor's office, and they continue to take our water at no cost. And we all know that the springs are one of the most precious resources of our state. It is what makes us special, and what really makes us stand apart from the rest of the country. And once that water is gone, it's gone forever. So the problem is that most people don't know what happens in Tallahassee. And so they go and they do these things unchecked. So it's really important that you're reaching out to your elected officials, that you're reaching out to the governor's office, you're reaching out to DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, and really voicing your opinions that this is unacceptable and that this is not the way that we save and protect our state and the future of our state. Because without the springs and without our water here in our state, then we're just like any other state, and people won't come here. And we all love the state of Florida because of our incredible natural resources. So yes,
That is
definitely
true.
should be worried, but we need more voices.
What about redistricting? What can you speak to that?
Redistricting is going to be hard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. The last time around 10 years ago, we at least had the courts that were going to come in and be able to hold the legislature accountable. Unfortunately, we don't have the courts anymore. So this is going to be something that is going to be an uphill battle. I know that the Democrats in the legislature are going to fight tooth and nail. We have a lot of strong Democratic donors that are working on creating groups of attorneys and drawing of the maps and trying to present alternative maps. But this is going to be an uphill battle, which just means even more so that we have to register more Democrats. We've got to make sure that our messaging is clear, because we may not be able to protect districts, but we need to make sure that we're pulling voters. If we can't protect the lines, then at least we need to make sure that the people inside the lines are voting for us. So that's clear messaging. That's unification messaging, making sure that our message transcends Democratic issues, that we've got to talk to the MPAs, and we've got to talk to the moderate Republicans. And we've got to make sure that they understand that we are the big tent party. We are the ones that are taking care of our blue collar workers. We are taking care of the families. And the Republican Party is no longer a free market. They are, have created regulations that have only protected their power and protected the power of the corporations, so they can continue giving them more campaign donations. It's like the cycle. So if we can create really a movement on the ground that the average person in our state understands that they are not being taken care of. So while we might not be able to really win with districting, it's important that we have a better message, that people want to vote for us. And so that we can try to flip some of these seats and make sure that in 10 more years that we're not sitting in the same situation that we are now. But we've got to make sure we've got boots on the ground now, that we're talking about these issues, and that we've got a clear and concise message that will hopefully, make us victorious in 2022 and moving forward. The pendulum has got to swing back. We know that is what happens in politics. And right now, the state of Florida has swung so far right that it's got to swing back. And hopefully the voters in our state, with all of our work, will start to understand what is happening here in our state.
One last question from a viewer. Brittany asked about our messaging, because we know that the messaging maybe was not as concise as it should have been last election. So in your opinion, what is the best message that we can get out as the foot soldiers that are going to be doing the registration and getting people to become Democrats and then getting out the vote? What is the best message that you think would be a clear, concise, effective message?
We are the party where American dreams come true. That we are the party that has embraced immigrants. We are the party who has fought for economic equality, and that we want everybody to succeed, and that it's got to be a message that really resonates. And so it's got to be that this kind of 30,000 foot level. And of course, you're going to go down to specific issues in whether it's a local election or statewide election. But the message has got to be, we are the party that is going to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to succeed, and that the Republicans have rigged the system against them. And so we've got to be starting to kind of say the system needs to be changed. The system needs to be broken down. And I mean, I look at a lot of times, the Donald Trump voter. And I'm not talking about the Trump voter that thinks the South will rise again, that thinks 6 million Jews wasn't enough. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about middle America, that in the rural America, that fundamentally believes that politics doesn't work. And what Trump was able to do is he capitalized on the anger of people who hate politics, and was able to tell them, I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to, people didn't care that he was a Democrat or Republican because he's been both. They cared about the message that he was giving and the populist message. And so we've got to take that same anger that was from those people and give them hope of a better tomorrow, because Donald Trump failed them. Didn't drain the swamp. In fact, did just the opposite, put it full of alligators. He did just the opposite of what he promised. He didn't give better prosperity to these people. He didn't deliver on any of his promises to the people, except for his friends in Mar-a-Lago. He goes back and he brags to them that he just saved them a whole lot of money and made them even wealthier. That is not the average person in our country. The average person in our country is working 9-to-5 jobs, sometimes 2 jobs, taking care of elderly family members, watching their kids struggle in school, and want to know why public education isn't working for their kids. And so we've got to make sure that they understand that we are the ones who have been fighting for them, and that we are going to be the party who is going to deliver results and go back to our track record. Go back to what Joe Biden is going to be able to accomplish in these 4 years. Look what he's already done in
60 days.
60 days. He has fundamentally changed how our economy works. Reagan economics is what we have been under for the last since the 80s. And the trickle down economic policies protected the wealthy. And we hoped, the point was, you give more money to the corporations, they would expand their workforce. They would do all these, expand benefits, do all these things for their people. They didn't do any of that. They just made the top 1%ers richer. And so trickle down economics did not work. So now what Joe Biden and the Democrats in the Senate and the House did is they have flipped the switch on our economy and have given money right directly to the people. And so when this stimulus package works and our economy across the country is successful and people are getting out of poverty, that they are reducing the amount of children that are in poverty. When they start seeing these deliverable results, not political rhetoric, not BS, but results. We are the party who has done that. And, and look at my track record. We came in first 90 days, we came in and delivered results that I made promises on. And that's what we've got to do. We cannot talk about things that we want to do. We've got to show the people that we have done these things, we have made their lives better, and that we will continue to fight to make their lives better.
Well, thank you so much. You're fabulous. And it was so inspiring. You are inspiring. And I find you to be an effective and a fabulous leader, and someone who really knows the meaning of public service. And that's really what it's all about when you get there. It's about serving the public, not yourself. That's something the Republicans have lost sight of. And so thank you for sharing your evening with us. I know you have a very busy schedule. I know we couldn't get to all the questions, but thank you for being part of the Seminole Democratic Party. We are here. We are on the map. We're flexing our muscle, and we will show our force, and we'll be the boots on the ground that you'll need, or anyone that will need, to turn this place blue. We love you, Nikki, and thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. Everyone, let's thank Nikki. Collective clapping.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Did you do your show?
Not yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, make sure you're masking up, keep social distancing, and when you and you're eligible for the vaccines, make sure you get in line. So thanks, everyone.
Yes.
Stay safe out there.
Take care, Nikki. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye. All right. How fabulous was that? Live from the front. Very exciting, and actually so exciting because it's another woman on the move in Women's History Month. And speaking of women, we have a huge group of women, and we have the president of that huge group, the League of Women Voters. We have Sharon Lynn, a friend of mine, actually. I love Sharon. I've met her on several occasions. I just love her. She's wonderful and she is effective. And we need to know, everyone should know what the League of Women Voters does, because they are the ones that hold people accountable. They bring lawsuits on redistricting. They make sure that they register voters, and they really have a very, very big, effective role in making people get out and getting out the vote. So Sharon, welcome, welcome. I know you had to wait in the waiting room. I don't have a green room with cake and cookies, but you're welcome to my home at any time to share and have a cup of coffee with me, introduce you to our monthly meeting, and I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you have the floor. Go to it, Sharon.
Well, thank you, Tracy, and thank you for your kind words. And I've had both my vaccines, so anytime you want to meet for coffee, I'm there.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
And I really do want to thank both you and Moira for the invitation and the opportunity to speak to you tonight. And I think most of you know that the League of Women Voters is nonpartisan. It doesn't mean that we're apolitical.
Oh, you froze for a minute. Unfreeze. Oh, there we go.
And I don't feel frozen.
No, you're fine. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Just work through.
Anyway, we are not apolitical, and we like to think we represent opinions and positions that can be found across the American political spectrum. What we share is our commitment to voter empowerment, and especially empowering women voters and defending democracy with, especially currently, a further goal of advancing inclusion. And we never derive our positions from politicians. Even when candidates or parties support the same issues as we do, we cannot endorse them. And that's a little difficult at times, but that's just the way it is. And before I move on to some of what I'd like to say about Seminole County, I share Nikki Fried's concerns about redistricting, because many of you may know that it was the League of Women Voters that successfully pursued lawsuits that they ended up actually using the maps that were drawn by the people representing the league. So I don't know that we would have a court that would look at it that way. So we've got a lot of work to do with making sure redistricting is fair. So in this month commemorating women's history, let's take a look at where we are in Seminole County. I looked for the most recent data I could find from the census, and it shows that women represent 51.6% of Seminole's population. So how are we represented in elected offices? This is, we're going to get a little in the weeds here. We have
we know that answer.
We have 2 female mayors out of 7 cities. We have no women in constitutional offices, which are, sheriff, clerk of court, property appraiser, tax collector, and supervisor of election. 2 out of 5 county commissioners are women. And in the school board, we have 5 out of 5 women. But it's when we got to the municipalities that I actually kind of surprised myself, because these are things that I knew but hadn't really put together. So let's look at the cities. In Altamont Springs, 2 out of 5 of their commission are women. Castleberry, the number is 0 out of 5. The city of Lake Mary, 0 out of 5. Longwood, 1 out of 6. Oviedo, 2 out of 5. Sanford, 2 out of 5. And Winter Springs, 1 out of 6. Now, for 51.6% of the population, those numbers seem kind of dismal to me. But then I started looking at on a broader level, because, there is and continues to be so much talk about the Equal Rights Amendments. And in 1923, the ERA was initially drafted by Alice Paul and Crystal Eastman. And the version eventually approved by Congress was sent to the states for ratification in March of 1972. In June of 82, approaching the ratification deadline, the governor of Florida, who was an ERA supporter at the time, called a special session of the legislature to consider approval of the ERA. And on June 21st, the House voted in favor, 60 to 58. It was sent to the Senate, and the Senate killed it and rejected it by a 22-16 vote. And where are we now? Well, I think everybody probably knows the requisite number of states have now ratified the amendment, but not by the timeframe deadline. So the question right now is, can Congress waive the lapse deadline? And for any of you who read the news last Friday, a blow was dealt to the ERA. Federal Judge Rudolph Contreras in Washington, D.C. ruled that a number of states that voted to ratify the amendment in recent years were too late in their approval for it to be added to the Constitution. So the ruling was a defeat for Illinois, Nevada, and Virginia. And of course, Virginia lobbied and was the state that allowed us to reach the 38 states required. So I was told I have 5 minutes, so I'm
No,
I'm
I want you to take time because this is Women's History Month and you are really dropping pearls of wisdom. So you go a little bit more, Sharon. I know I want to hear from you, and I'm sure.
Well, and the other thing, and I think about this a lot lately, I think we've learned that you can fight for rights, and that rights that have been fought for and hard won are not irrevocable. And it's kind of scary. And this is true certainly not only for women's rights. And I think Nikki Fried touched on this. Senate Bill 90 in the current Florida legislative session comes to mind. It is opposed by the supervisors of elections pretty much across party lines. And it really amounts, in my opinion, to voter suppression. And I just think we really have to keep an eye on it and work hard at seeing that that bill does not get passed. Also, I'm kind of alarmed by House Bill 1, the anti-protest legislation. First Amendment specifically provides Congress cannot make a law that abridges the right of the people to peacefully assemble. Likewise, no state legislature can deprive the people of this basic and fundamental right. Now, House Bill 1 would abridge the right of the citizens of the state of Florida to free exercise of their right to assemble and petition their government. So I want us all to think about that. And that is, those two are by no means the only bills of concern. It's just that to me, as a citizen, these are just so fundamentally bad for us. Yes. So, and in closing, I really want to thank the women, many of you with us tonight, who stepped up and ran for office. And I hope that we continue to see that, because the numbers that we were seeing in the municipalities, it's really kind of sad. And I think that we did a good job this year, not to be partisan, but we had a lot of really quality women candidates this year. And I'd love to see us continuing to have those candidates and to see some of you come back. And really, that's it. I don't know if you have any questions or if there are.
Well, you know what, Sharon, I want to thank you, because I know you're nonpartisan. I know the League of Women is nonpartisan, but the League of Women Voters has been very supportive to the Seminole Democratic Party and assisting in registering voters. Whether they're for us or not, the work that you do is so vital. And I want to thank you. And I too am very worried about House Bill 1. You know, it has a chilling effect on the assembly of people. And as a criminal defense attorney, I have my own very big concerns about that law with the discretionary applicability of it. So I do think that we need watchdogs like the League of Women Voters to help us there. Let me see if there's some questions in the chat for you, because I'm not ready to let you go yet. Can we sue the legislature? This is a good question. Can we sue the legislature for voter suppression? You know, I know you guys took on the redistricting and you were successful. What can we do? Because I know Deb Huelian's going to speak in a moment about these issues. What can we do?
As citizens, the only thing you can do is continue to pressure your state legislators. And one of the things that always puzzles me is that we have these amendments, for instance, that pass on a bipartisan basis or they wouldn't pass. And then the people who voted in favor of, let's say, the water and land legacy or restoration of rights, then they go ahead and they vote for the people who don't basically follow the people's will. So I have a lot of confusion about, I think, people paying attention perhaps. And one thing that I really would like to talk to Deborah Pulalian about later, particularly now that she's not a candidate, it makes it far easier for us to collaborate, is getting the early voting sites at Seminole State College. But as far as suing the legislature, I mean, we've done it, but it's very costly. I mean, that is how redistricting happened. So, but as individuals, the best we can do is just advocate on our own behalfs and keep pounding away at our legislators.
Yeah, you know, I happen to agree with you there. We just have to stay vigilant, and we have to really keep checking the legislative updates, and we have to be the watchdogs of each and every one of us, because they're not watching out for us in Tallahassee. Sharon, I did have a question in the group. People want to know when you meet, how they can join. Is there a fee to join? You know, things of that nature. Let's get some women involved. It is the Women's Month. Let's do it.
All right. Well, you can join on our website, which is lwvseminole.org. And we do have dues, because we have to, most of our dues are split up between the League of Women Voters of the US and the State League, and we keep a small amount of the money. And the reason they collect money from us is so we can actually afford lawsuits and legal advice and everything that we need to keep going and doing what we need to do. As far as when we meet, we have hot topics every fourth Thursday. And this
I'm
month—
going to interrupt you there, because I want to tell people those hot topics are fabulous. Great presenters, great leaders. You can visit them and do the Zoom thing. They used to do them at Bonefish once a month. I loved it. It's a good way to connect with strong women, right? It was a good way to connect with strong women. But more than that, they have the best presenters, really interesting presenters. And whether you're a male or a female, you can be a member of the League of Women Voters and help them move the dial forward. We need to move the dial forward in Seminole County. To me, it's appalling that the same group of men, so to speak, run Seminole County, and that we have 51% women, and we're not voting each other in. We need to stand on the shoulders of the women and push them through. So in that note, I'm going to make a plea right now. Anyone on this who knows any woman, I'll just throw it out there, who wants to run for a municipal race, we have seats in Lake Mary, Oviedo, and Altamont right now in 2021. I am on the actual candidate committee along with Kyle Hopkins. And if you want, you can personally reach me. You can put my cell phone number in the chat, Brittany, if you like. And the reality is that you can be the candidate. It just takes a little guidance, and I will nurture and help you along the way. But wouldn't it be a great role model for the women and in Seminole County, for the kids and the girls in school, and just to see people like us getting there? And to that effect, minorities as well. You know, we need to just broaden the dial in Seminole County. We're the team of inclusion, and yet we don't have a very diverse leadership. So anyway, Sharon, I'm sorry, that was my 5-minute spiel.
Quite all right. Well, one of the things I wanted to mention about our hot topics as well is, if you don't sign up for the Zoom, we do broadcast them live on Facebook now, and they are therefore available even after the meeting is over. It can be seen on our Facebook page, which is League of Women Voters of Seminole County. And this month we have a professor from UCF, and we're talking about STEM with a collaboration between people at UCF and 7th graders. So we're going to be talking about how we cultivate future leaders who are interested in the STEM subjects. And then on March 30th, we are going to have a topic basically about breaking the glass ceiling in politics. And we've got somebody from each party. So we've got Anna Escamani joining us as a state rep. And then we're going to have our recently elected county commissioner, Andrea Herr, as the other person. And we want to talk about how difficult it is to run for office and what challenges women face that may not necessarily be faced by men. So those are the two things. And our hot topics is actually, I think, on March, I want to say 25th.
Well, I'll look it up and I'll put it in there, Sharon. And I want to thank you for sharing your insight. And I'm glad you introduced yourself to Seminole County, because a lot of people don't have the privilege of meeting you and knowing what the League of Women Voters stood for. And so I think that it was really enlightening. Thank you. And you know, personally, I'll get together with you. I miss you. And I can't wait to get back to Bonefish
I know.
and break bread, so to speak.
Yes.
And just get it. I just miss my girls. So anyway, so it's so nice to see you. Thank you
Well,
again
thank you
for
for
coming
having
on
me. I
tonight.
really appreciate the opportunity, honestly.
Oh, no, it's great. You're fabulous. All right. I'm giving you the boot, my love.
Okay.
Okay, so have a great night. Okay, have a great night. Love you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to move on. You know, this is the monthly meeting. We have old business, new business. So I want to address something. I would like to direct my next person to speak. And the next topic that we're going to talk about is how we are moving forward in Seminole County and what we are doing to move forward. We are moving forward incrementally in steps to get the end result. And what is the end result? You know what the end result is. Register more Democrats, get more votes, and put more people in blue in positions that could make good, effective law and be good leaders. And so to do that, we had our very first mission this last month, and that was reaching out to people that were disenfranchised, Republican women, and we put our toe in the water, and we all did our jobs, so to speak, and we hit so many people. And I want to have Deb Puelian speak to that and give us the inspirational stories that she has alongside of that, and tell us also what's in the big picture alongside of postcard writing, canvassing, text banking, phone banking, fundraising. This is a big composite and all pieces of the puzzle to move us forward. And that's what we really want to do. We need to move us forward. So Deb, I would like you to take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Tracy. And this has been such an inspiring meeting already. And I loved Nikki's comments about how we need to reach out to so many people who are starting to realize that the Republican Party is not working for them and does not represent their values. So we did a campaign where we took this beautiful flyer and dropped it off at the houses of Republican women all over Seminole County. I have to thank our precinct captains, our area leaders, so many helpers who went out and did this. And so, did it make a difference? Well, I can tell you one small way it did. So I got an email from someone whose name I did not recognize. I'm going to call her Amy. And she said, I want to help register voters. I'm like, okay, I'll get around to this. A day or two later, I want to help register voters, like now. So, okay, all right, let me look up, find out what precinct this person is in. So I look her up in Vote Builder, and she's a Republican. I'm like, that's interesting. Wasn't expecting that. I thought, could she have possibly been on our list? So I looked up my list, and sure enough, she was on the list from precinct 47. And so I thought, I'm going to check with my precinct captain from precinct 47, who happens to be Connie, who spoke to us earlier tonight. So I got a hold of Connie. I said, Connie, do you remember going to this address? She says, oh, yes, I remember it. I remember the chalk drawings on the sidewalk. I said, she wants to help people register to vote. So can you check in with her? And she did. And she is anxious, so thrilled, so excited to start helping us register people to vote. I checked her voter registration in the most current listing. She is now registered as a Democrat. And I just want people to know that there are people in Seminole County are tired of what they're getting from the Republican Party. They just need a touch from us to know that there's an option, and we're here to welcome them. So I'm thrilled about what's happening in Seminole County. I also want to show you my Minding the Gap slide. So we'll see if it comes up now. Are you seeing the red bars getting smaller and smaller, which is exactly what we want? So one of the reasons that we did this campaign, because, within less than a month after the Capitol riot, people were leaving the Republican Party, but they weren't coming to the Democratic Party. So we said, we're going to reach out. But regardless of whether they were coming to the Democrats, they were leaving the Republicans. And in Seminole County, this gap is now less than 300. We were down to almost 200. It popped up a little bit. Today, we're just excited about what's happening in Seminole County. And the second slide I want to show you, and this is what I'm ending with, is we are getting ready for our April project. And part of, actually in March, we'll be at Taste of Oviedo doing voter registration, of course. And in April, we're going to go out one more time. And I know it was hard work. It was a lot of driving to get to these folks, but our data experts have made a list of people who have switched from being Republican or Democrat to being NPA. And we want to reach out and say, these are our values, and we want you to be a part of the Democratic Party. So that's our April project, but we're not going to just do lit drops for the rest of the year. And we are going to do some good old fashioned new voter registration. And we are working on getting into a program that will help us identify the homes where there are no registered voters. If there are people living and breathing in that house, they need to register to vote, and we're going to go after them. So I'm really excited about the future. I am so grateful for the help that everyone has given us. And I'll take it back to Tracy and
Well,
Lynn.
Deb, I just want to say thank you, really, for all the hard work you do. This is a huge project. We are attempting to really change the composition of the voting demographics in Seminole County, and we are doing it incrementally. And so we will be a well-oiled machine by the time 2021 November comes or 2022 November comes. We are going to start working more efficiently, reaching more people, and this is the very beginning. So to those of you that might have had a difficult time this first time out, we get it, we hear you. We are going to shorten the turfs, we're going to tweak it, and we're going to make it accessible and fun, because this should be a fun time as well. Although it's work, we can whistle when we work, and we can have a good time doing it. So Deb, you are fabulous. You are really good. You think with the right side of the brain. I don't know if I have any left side or any side of the brain, but you are a forward thinker. And I want everyone to thank Deb for all the hard work she's doing, putting this together. These are layers of a cake. And when we get to the top, we can light the candle. Right?
Exactly. And I had a lot of help. I do want to say, Daniel, the activity lead, and Kathy.
Yes, let's shout out to Daniel.
So much together
for being
for
the
us.
activity lead.
Yes.
Let's shout out to him. And let's shout out to the precinct captain and everybody who was a boot on the ground. I know myself, I gave up last Sunday and I went around, canvassing isn't always, I'm going to be frank with you, my favorite part of the job, but I do it, because I know the more times you touch people, the more responsive they are, the more engaged they are, the more they'll press that button or fill in the dot. So that's what we really want to do. So thank you. This is just the beginning. This is Biden's first 60 days. Well, this is Lynn and ours first 60 days. And I think that given with all the help that we have from Brittany, from Daniel, from Deb, from everyone, from Kathy, from everyone in our circle, from everyone in our pie, we are really moving forward. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I want you guys to be excited too about this. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, Deb, if you can help me put up that slide, I want to talk about upcoming events that are going to happen. And with that, I want to mention and introduce Tyler Krause, because next month we are focusing on the LGBTQ caucus committee, and Tyler Krause is the one who's going to be heading that. Tyler, are you in the room? Well, you know what? Wait 1 second, Tyler. Let me go through the upcoming events. Every Friday, Lynn and I get to talk to you off the cuff, unfiltered, at 3 o'clock on Facebook. So if you like us and you like to gab, come join us, chat with us in the chat room every Friday at 3. We're live. Every Wednesday, the SemDems office is open from 1 to 3. It's like office hours. You have a headache, you need a good grade, go there. Talk to someone. Let's see what we can do about it. You have an issue, we'll talk to you. We'll massage your issue. March 18th is the Young Dems meeting at 7 p.m. If you know anyone who is young or anyone who's not hit 40 yet, encourage them to join because the youth are moving things forward and we need that young blood in SemDems. March 18th is a precinct captain orientation. I think it's good to go to this orientation for a few reasons. One, brush up on what we need done. Two, meet everybody else, because the more you talk to people and the more you get to know them, the more they become a community and then they become friends. And when you're friends, you're more inclined to do things together because you want to be with that person. So go to the precinct captain orientation if you have an inclination and you are a precinct captain. That's 7 p.m. on March 18th. March 20th to 21st, we're doing a donation drop-off at SemDems for Safe House. Safe House is an organization that attends to women that are victims of domestic violence. We need donations. We need toiletries, not clothing, shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, body wash. I'm gonna ask Kathy to put out a list. That's her wheelhouse. Let her put out a list of what we need. When you can drop it off 12 to 3. March 25th, we're having the first LGBTQ caucus meeting. Tyler's going to speak to you in a moment to introduce himself. That's, of course, everything is virtual. That's at 7. March 27th, all day. This is what I like because I'm all about food. The SemDems at a Taste of Oviedo. We're going to have a booth set up, you know, our tent. We're going to have registration there. We're going to be wearing our shirts. We're going to need volunteers. I'll be there. And we'll need some people there to man the booth, to introduce ourselves and greet people and get to know people and hopefully register people. And March 29th, as Corinne was mentioning to us before, Connie was mentioning to us before, the Disability Caucus meeting at 6 p.m. virtual. Now, this is a lot of information. You can even take your phone out and take a picture of it, or you can go to our SemDems website on the calendar. And that's really, you know, that's what I do. I go to the calendar and I click on something and I drop down because this brain can't hold everything in anymore. And so I go to the SemDems calendar and I click on it and then I click on what I want to do and I note it. And that's really the best way to stay in touch. The more you do, the more people you meet, the more involved you get, the more you feel you're part of a community and a family. And that's really what we should be. We should be a family. We are the Seminole Democrats, and we need to be the family that takes care and nurtures Seminole County. So that's our upcoming events. And now I would love to hear from Tyler. I would love to hear him talk about the organization or the committee. Tyler, are you with us? Are you in the room?
Hi there. Yes, we're here.
Oh, thank you for staying awake and thank you for staying on, my friend.
We're more than happy to be here. Thank you so much for the time. This has been
tell us, give us what's going on, who's invited, when it is, give us the dirt.
Absolutely. As the tea, as we say. So
the tea, yeah.
We'll keep it brief because I know that President Biden's speaking right now, and I know many people out there are wanting to hear what he's saying.
You're competing with Biden, my friend. Come on, Tyler.
That's a tough act to follow, and I, you know, like this entire slate of people speaking were fantastic. So thank you, everyone who's staying on and speaking. You had such amazing things to share with us. And thank you also, Tracy and Moira, for inviting us and giving us the space to talk about the caucus. My name is Tyler Kraus, and this is my partner,
Josh Higgins.
Did I steal your line? I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
I talk a lot. We are very excited to bring LGBTQ representation fully to the table here in Seminole County by giving a space for queer Democrats in our county to find common purpose and community. I know there's a lot.
I am so excited about this because I think this group has been overlooked, and I think that it's time. And I'm so glad you rose to the occasion, and you're leading this group. I'm invigorated by you, and I'm excited about this organization and this committee. It's really, tell people when you meet so they can take part of it.
Absolutely. So we are actually going to be hosting our first meeting on the 25th, as you pointed out on the calendar. So that will be sort of our exploratory meeting where I know I've been fielding a lot of emails from folks who are interested, and I swear I've been meaning to get back to everyone, but we are hosting our first meeting, March 25th, 7 p.m. So we will be discussing sort of the ins and outs, our mission, our vision, getting everything together because we're currently organized as a club within the SemDems, but we're going to be working to be officially recognized as a caucus with a
You will
statewide-
turn like a caterpillar into a butterfly.
Correct.
We'll make that happen for you. There
A
you
beautiful,
go.
fabulous queer
A beautiful
butterfly.
rainbow butterfly, right? That's fabulous.
Absolutely.
Well, Tyler, I'm glad you had this little moment, and I have to call it a little moment because I know people want to get to Biden. And I have to move to the next topic. So thank you both
Absolutely.
for being here, and I look forward, and I'll be on that Zoom on March 25th. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Listen,
Thank you so much.
we're in the wind up, but I cannot end this meeting without shout out to the activist of the month. And I cannot do that without honoring Christine Mincy, who is the activist of the month from Castleberry. She's the area head of Castleberry. And without her and her help, we would be a loss. So Christine, from us to you, thank you so much. You are the activist of the month. Howard's going to prepare the paperwork. I don't know how to do that. And he's going to do that. He'll get right on that. But you need the recognition because of the hard work that you've done. And I want to take this opportunity and personally thank you because I know how hard it is to move things forward. And I want to thank you. Now, I know everyone is frothing at the bit. We want to get to Biden. I think we did it in record time. It's 8:20. I do want to say one other thing. You know, it's Women's History Month. And I do want to give a shout out to our first African-American and woman who is the supervisor of the school board, Sarita Beeman. I want to say we are making strides in Seminole County, even if we have to claw our way to the top. We're going to do it and we're going to get there. Nothing to the men in the SemDems, but what we need to do is we need to get that diversity across the line. So everyone have a wonderful March this Saturday night. I think we spring forward. Let's all run to our televisions now and put on our favorite channels and watch Biden, his first 60 days. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I know Lynn does too, for the first 60 days that we've had running SemDems has been stressful, exciting, frustrating, exhilarating, all of the above wrapped up. And if you see some more gray hair, we can maybe attribute it to that, not so sure. But I want to thank you, and let's make a motion to end the meeting. Can someone make a motion for me? Who'd like to
Sue
make a
motion to close the
motion?
meeting.
Excuse me?
Sue Genick motions to close the meeting.
Oh,
Thank you, Sue Genick. And who would like to second that?
yeah, Mary Ann has said second.
Okay, now do we vote on closing the meeting or are we all
We
good
have
to
to vote
go?
on, yeah, we have to vote to
All
adjourn.
right,
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
take a vote because we are Democrats. We will vote on it.
Yep.
Let the voting begin. Play like that song, Jeopardy. I heard Katie Couric is hosting Jeopardy.
What?
Yes, and I heard she was
Is that
really
true?
good. Yeah, she did a stint.
All right, what are we announcing,
Wait.
Brittany?
Okay, so let's see what we got going on here.
Yes, we may adjourn.
We may adjourn.
Okay, we may adjourn. Okay, so I want to sign off. I want to thank you for my first opportunity to reach each and every one of you. I hope you had a good time. I want to thank everybody for working really, really hard this month in our first mission. We look forward to April's mission, Deb, and we look forward to moving the needle forward. Lynn, did you want to say something?
No, we're good. I just wanted to say thank you. You took on the baton like a champ. And this is what true leadership looks like. Replace, have everyone helping each other get to the finish line. So thank you, Tracy, for doing it. I think you ran an awesome meeting in, as you mentioned, record
you.
time. So yeah.
Record
excellent
time.
work.
That's the New Yorker in me. I speak very, very fast. Okay, so let's run to our television sets. I'll see you tomorrow. Lynn and I will see you at 3 o'clock. Come join us. See you next month.
Correct. Chat with the
Bye,
chairs.
guys.
We'll be there tomorrow. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.